This is lemon balm tea, fresh. It's always best fresh, straight from my garden. A beautiful anxiolytic, a beautiful herb to reduce anxiety and to help you chill just a little. Hello, Christine. Can you pull up a chair and a cup of herbal tea? Nice to see a fellow herbalist and naturopath on the stream. So today is Monday, the 4th of May, and how was your weekend? Was it another interesting weekend in this slightly different world that we're in? And another naturopath. Hello, Amanda. Um, so I just wanted to kind of share with you my musings over the weekend and to link in from last Friday. So last Friday, I asked what I've been asking pretty much everyone I come across in life as well as work. Is this time that we're going through giving you permission to do something? So what is it that you don't want to change when the next new normal comes along? What is it from this time that's giving you permission to ask for in the future and to make some changes for? In what way? So that was the question I asked on Friday to see if people have kind of percolated a bit. But, then I realized that I hadn't, I've been asking people for 6 weeks this question. Have I really started to think about that for myself? And one of the first realizations I had this weekend, which was wonderful, we've been very lucky in New South Wales. We have been allowed to have one or two adult visitors to our house. It's kind of implied that they can have as many kids as they like to come to your space as well. But it meant I had a social weekend for the first time in 6 weeks. Just little safely distanced times to share a meal or to have a cup of tea or to have a walk. And by Sunday, I realized I am not ready for lockdown to come to an end. I'm actually reveling in having some solo time. And I know everybody's homes are different. Their physical environment, how much space they have, whether they have a garden or not, how many people are in that space, whether you are in cramped quarters with a family or even an extended family and feel like you have no choices. Or, as some of you know, I usually live here with my partner, but he's been gone for over 4 weeks taking care of his mum, which is a really lovely thing that he's doing. And I've spent quite a bit of my adult time living on my own. And within this relationship, we had a big kind of donut hole in the middle where we lived in two different cities. So this isn't unique to me. But I was thinking about what is it about isolation that, or kind of our quasi lockdown, that I don't want to end? And what does this give me permission to do? And I think it's actually taken these past few weeks to get to this point where we're constantly on a roller coaster. But part of that roller coaster is that you might have seen a diagram that's gone around that talks about the fear zone, and you're really in survival in those first few weeks in fear zone, and you're bargaining or in your denial, and you're upset or you're angry, and then you kind of adjust. And then we talked about a crash about a week or two ago, the week before last week, where I started to notice people were crashing. And my theory is that not just the realization that this might go on for some time, but I actually believe it's probably a bit of an adrenal response there. When you've been in the fear zone and you move to that kind of learning zone, your adrenal glands aren't pumping up as much of those survival hormones, those fight or flight, the cortisol so much, and that you have a rebound, you crash. And I noticed a lot of people crashed the week before last and then started to come up by last weekend. And we're still here. And what part of the cycle are we in now? So what the next, in this theoretical diagram that talks about the fear zone, the learning zone, where I hope a lot of us are, what are we learning from this experience? What are the silver linings that we can take from it? Going into the growth zone is, I realize I think I'm just going into the growth zone, and I'd like another month, thank you, of having some degree of solitude and still supported by friends and family and vice versa. But I'm just getting to that point where I'm writing, where I'm starting to think, where I'm starting to ask myself that question. What does this very unusual experience that we're having individually and collectively give me permission to change? And I don't know the answer yet, but I can feel it. I'm meditating again. I'm having less screen time. I'm not trying to numb those thoughts. And some of those thoughts are really, really uncomfortable. And I'm just saying hello to my neighbor. This is the kind of lovely, one of the things that I actually really love about this time is, which is, sounds a bit strange after solitude, is my neighbour who's working from home just walked past, and we have a lot more contact. We're a really friendly neighbourhood, but I'm loving how it's brought people together even more. And they now know it's normal if I've got the blind up and I appear to be talking to myself that I'm either with a client or talking on a live. Christine said it takes time to get to these places sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah. And I think it's actually I really now have almost that sense of urgency that if these restrictions are slowly going to lift, that I'm not ready for it, that I'm psychologically, apart from my whole beliefs about how this is being managed and whatever, and what state I want to get to with community spread before we start to act like things are normal. That public health issue aside, but psychologically, yes, I now have that urgency that I kind of took this, I've been taking this time for granted. I've adjusted to this version of new normal, and I really would like some more time to ask myself those deep questions. As I said, this is usually the time of year that I prepare to go on retreat, to lead a retreat. And last year I gave myself a chunk of time afterwards to spend on my own in solitude in Bali and to really deeply contemplate things. So I'm going to go back to what I journaled through that time and back to giving myself permission, because I think it's like this is this permission thing. I know a lot of other practitioners who were considering, in the past year or two, whether they'd move to online consults, whether they would work from home. Now it's giving people a taste of this. And it's like, do you love it or do you not love it? Do you want to go back to face? Do you want to find a way to blend the two like I usually do? Or is this the financial viability of your business being questioned, and does that give you permission to do something else? So my thoughts for today are that movement from the fear zone to the learning zone to the growth zone may be uncomfortable. And actually this year, prior to this current emergency, or different interesting way of living, is I was beginning to sit down with myself and to sit with uncomfortable feelings. So the thing that I would like you to consider, if you're feeling like you've got the headspace for this growth zone, if you've got the headspace for actually, I'm finding a way to be less distracted, not more, and I do want to think about these questions, my tip is when an uncomfortable thought arises, be curious about how you're reacting. So my usual reactions when I have an uncomfortable thought, big picture stuff, work, relationship, what part of the world do I live in? How do I want to live? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to be? What my values are? Am I living in alignment with my values? If I come across a thought or what I think is an answer that is uncomfortable, I tend to problem solve. I tend to want to make it better. I tend to try to find compromises or solutions. And what I've been doing this year since January is just acknowledging and doing that mindfulness technique of labeling something. So I have learned to sit with the discomfort and say, that's an uncomfortable thought. I'm curious that my mind might change direction. I'm curious about, the problem solver comes out. Oh, okay, I forgot that about me. I love solving problems. I want to make a practical solution here. And I've observed how that then just takes me off that track. So, some homework for you: if you find yourself in the space and you find yourself having uncomfortable thought, it's just a thought. And as we used to say when we were a bit more kind of new agey hippie-ish, it's just a thought, and a thought doesn't control you. So be curious about that thought. Having the thought doesn't mean that it commits you to making a change. Just accept you had that thought. That thought is one of many possibilities, and you're not running from it, you're sitting with it. Even if you go for a walk and to say, look, I know it takes me 10 minutes to walk from here to this point over here. How about I just observe if I can stay with that thought for that 10-minute walk from one place to another? And it's a type of meditation. So every time you find yourself going off track or solving it or imagining something else, just use your curiosity to bring you back and say, oh, okay, I'm back now. Okay, yeah, I went somewhere else, but I'm back now. That is the meditation. The meditation is becoming aware and coming back to the present. So thanks for your feedback, Christine from Chrissy. Been contemplating all of these questions, Your Honour. Off. Thank you. It's great. And I will be back tomorrow. That's just neighbours moving the rubbish bin because Monday's rubbish day. So I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Australian time, 3 o'clock New Zealand time. And I've got a few different things planned in the next week or two with these lives, maybe, which I'll share with you then. So have a great day. And yeah, just learn to sit with it. It doesn't mean you're committed to change until you're ready to, or till you found the right change for you. And just observe your reactions. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a really good day, afternoon. I'll see you then.